inflation remains a persistent challenge. Recent data indicate that inflation is higher than initially anticipated. This unexpected rise has prompted reassessments of economic forecasts. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell acknowledged the stickiness of inflation. He emphasized the need for continued vigilance in monitoring economic indicators. The Federal Reserve's commitment to price stability remains unwavering. Powell's statements underscore the complexity of managing inflation in the current economic climate. The Federal Reserve faces a delicate balancing act in its efforts to curb inflation. The path ahead remains uncertain, with potential implications for both the U.S. economy and the global financial landscape. The recent surge in inflation can be attributed to several factors. Supply chain disruptions continue to plague the global economy. The ongoing war in Ukraine has exacerbated these disruptions. Geopolitical instability adds another layer of complexity to the inflation equation. Energy prices remain elevated, contributing to inflationary pressures. Strong consumer demand, fueled by pent-up savings, is also playing a role. These factors have coalesced to create a challenging inflationary environment. Policymakers are grappling with the multifaceted nature of this inflation. Finding effective solutions requires a nuanced understanding of these interconnected factors. The impact of higher inflation is felt throughout the economy. Businesses are facing rising input costs, squeezing profit margins. Consumers are experiencing sticker shock as prices for goods and services climb. The erosion of purchasing power is a tangible consequence of persistent inflation. This erosion disproportionately affects lower-income households. These households often lack the financial cushion to absorb rising costs. The inflationary environment is exacerbating socioeconomic disparities. Addressing inflation is not merely an economic imperative. It is also a matter of social equity. The Federal Reserve faces a delicate balancing act. The decision to maintain current interest rates reflects this delicate balance. Raising rates too aggressively could stifle economic growth. However, keeping rates too low risks fueling further inflation. The Federal Reserve is navigating a narrow path between these two extremes. The decision to hold rates steady signals a cautious approach. Policymakers are closely monitoring incoming economic data. These data will inform future decisions regarding interest rates. The Federal Reserve's actions are guided by a commitment to both price stability and economic growth. Maintaining stable rates aims to provide a sense of predictability. This predictability is intended to foster a favorable environment for economic activity. Businesses and consumers can operate with a greater degree of certainty. This certainty is crucial for investment and spending decisions. However, the effectiveness of this approach in curbing inflation remains to be seen. Some economists argue that more aggressive action is needed to tame inflation. Others contend that patience is required, allowing the economy to adjust organically. The debate over the appropriate policy response continues. Impact on everyday lives. The current economic climate has tangible implications for everyday lives. Rising prices are straining household budgets. Consumers are cutting back on discretionary spending. The cost of essentials such as food and energy is placing a burden on families. The economic anxieties of the pandemic era persist. Inflation adds another layer of stress to an already challenging period. People are grappling with the rising cost of living. This economic reality is shaping consumer behavior and sentiment. The housing market is also feeling the effects of rising interest rates. Mortgage rates have climbed, making home ownership less attainable. This trend is exacerbating the existing housing affordability crisis. Renters are also facing pressure as landlords pass along higher costs. The housing market is a cornerstone of the U.S. economy. Its health is intertwined with the overall economic well-being of the nation. The current economic environment poses challenges to the stability of this crucial sector. Navigating an uncertain future. The path ahead remains uncertain. The persistence of inflation presents ongoing challenges. The Federal Reserve's policy decisions will continue to shape the economic landscape. The effectiveness of maintaining stable rates and curbing inflation remains to be seen. Economic forecasts are subject to revision as new data emerge. The global economic outlook adds another layer of complexity. Geopolitical events and supply chain dynamics will continue to influence the trajectory of the U.S. economy. Navigating this uncertain future requires vigilance and adaptability. Policymakers must remain responsive to evolving economic conditions. Businesses and consumers alike must adapt to the changing economic reality. The current economic climate underscores the interconnectedness of global events and domestic economic performance. The decisions made today will have lasting implications for the U.S. economy and the broader financial landscape.